Hello, and welcome back to Let's Talk Chicago Bears, who are in first place. Can you believe it? Oh my God, has it been since 2018 was the last time I think we were in first place? So, it's a Victory Monday, and you know what that means. It's time for the song that just keeps on giving and giving and giving, by a person who can't carry a tune. Bear down, Chicago Bears, make every play, clear the way to victory. Bear down, Chicago Bears, put up a fight with the might so fearlessly. Let them never forget the way you filled the nation with your T formation. Bear down, Chicago Bears. Let them know why you're wearing the crown. You're the pride and joy of Illinois. Chicago Bears, bear down. Right on. Whoops. There goes the crown. So how is everybody today? Everybody's got to be in a damn good mood, right? Again, I mean, the last seconds, here we go again, right? Oh my gosh, I can't really quite believe it. But we are 7-3. Green Bay is right behind us. I forget. It don't matter. We're 7-3, and we're in first place in the Central Division. Did we think that would happen? Yeah, maybe, but it's just awesome. How long it'll last, we don't know, but we're going to enjoy it because we had another victory yesterday, 19-17 with 2 seconds left. I mean, I told you on Friday this was a must-win for the Bears because they had already lost to Minnesota, and it sure looked like here we go again. I mean, the last quarter was, okay, here we go again. Giving them away, because in that first meeting, they scored 4 touchdowns in the last quarter on that first game of the season. But we did not let it happen this week, and it was awesome. I mean, we still... There's still issues, people, that and I've been talking to a buddy who is a big Bears fan like me. He's way more optimistic than I usually am, and I said to him, they're not quite ready for playoffs yet, but he's like, oh, yes, they are. Right, Dan? But you know, we're going to talk about the game, and we're going to talk about it. But you know what? Again, another week. It's a Victory Monday. Tomorrow, the Bears have to get back to work. But right now, we're going to enjoy first place in the Central League. Yeah. And I want to give out a shout out to my buddy, Fonzie. What's up, Fonzie? It's Aunt Lynn. So... great game, 19-17. We are 1-1 with Minnesota. That's awesome. And you know, I told you these starting yesterday. These next 8 games are going to be tough. And that was a good way to start. So let's give out the game balls. There was 2 game balls given out yesterday, and much deserved for number 12. Nagy. I don't know how to spell his name. Duvernay, whatever. Him, number 12, he ran back the kickoff that led to that winning touchdown. He had a 56-yard run from the kickoff that helped set up. We got the offense out there. They went down, set it up for Santos to win. So he gets a game ball, and Santos for winning after he had 4 kicks yesterday. He made 4 field goals, missed 1, but the most important one was the one that we won. So him and Duvernay, I think that's how you say it, Duvernay, number 12 Duvernay, him and Santos both got game-winning balls, and they both deserved it. Okay, my threes, let's do that real quick. On always the show before the game, I say my threes. If you win 2 out of 3 or all 3 of them, you're going to win the game or you're right in it. Bears were so close. Penalties, turnovers, and 3 and outs. They didn't do very well in the penalty. Well, they were close. They had 6 penalties. They actually had more because 2 or 3 of them were refused. So you got to keep the penalties 5 and under, but this is still better than what they were doing previously. That's, we're going to say it's a win for them. Turnovers, we got 2. I always say if 2 turnovers a game is going to help you win that game, and limit your 3 and outs on your offense to the Bears didn't do well on that. They had 3 and outs, and they caused, but on the flip side, they caused Minnesota have 3 and outs as well. So that's good, but not for our offense. They didn't have a stellar game, but it's a W, right? A W is a W is a W, which means victory. I'm just being silly. Okay, guys. The total yards for the Bears, 320 yards for the game. Minnesota had 265. We had 180 passing yards, but Cabe had 193. But with penalties and stuff, that changes it. So the pass was 180. Our defense held Minnesota and J.J. McCarthy to 150 yards passing. We had 140 yards rushing, which is so important. I tell you, you have to be over 100 yards and up to win a game. You have to get that run game going, and it's going. I think, and I will talk about this in a little bit, I think they could have, there was a few times where they shouldn't have rushed, in my opinion, because they got nothing, and then there was times they should have, and they didn't. So, you know what? That's just the game of football. So, again, another stellar rush game by our 2 wide running backs, 140 yards. We held Minnesota at 115, which is good. Our defense, for us, that's good. I would have liked to see it under 100 because they don't have a good running attack. So that we gave up 150 concerns me, 115, but not going to worry about it today. Third down conversions, we were okay. We were 7 of 18. So people would say, no, that's not bad. It's half. I'd like to see that number up. I'd like to see that first number up, but much better than Minnesota. They were 3 of 11, and we're not surprised because their quarterback had a tough day yesterday. The Bears defense got no sacks, but we're going to talk about that later, but they did what I talk about. Minnesota sacked Cabe twice. But I'm telling you, they could have easily had 6 sacks on that game. And because he is, as Ben calls him, Harry Houdini, and if you don't know who he is because you're too young, look him up. A great escape artist, and that is our quarterback for sure. The Bears defense had 2 interceptions. Right on. Minnesota had none. And here's a big one. Some people say this isn't a big important stat, but it is. Because for yesterday's game, particularly because it was so close, the time of possession, the Bears had it 36 minutes and change to Minnesota's 23 minutes and change. So it is huge that the Bears offense was on the field so much more because 2 good things it does. It puts your defense on the sidelines and resting. It puts their defense out there and you're beating them down, and their offense is off the field. So time of possession, in my opinion, is very big, and this showed because in that fourth quarter, they started moving the ball again. Our defense is getting tired. They've been out there. And so it was so huge that the Bears, and that starts with the run game. The more rushes you get, the more ticks off the clock you cause. And that is just a good thing, especially for the Bears, because they can't score a lot, which we're going to talk about. But they're scoring just enough to win, which is great right now. But my point is, time of possession is good, because had this been a closer time of possession game, I'm not sure we would have come out with a W. But we did. So, Williams. Let's talk about Williams. He, in my opinion, did not have another stellar game, but I love this kid. Do not get me wrong. I think he's the future. He has some more to learn. And that rush Vikings was in his face all day. He was 16 of 32. As you can see, that's not great. I'm sure people were saying it, he was overthrowing these guys again and underthrowing them, but he threw no interceptions, so that's really good. I'll take 16 of 32 when we're going to win the game. He had 193 yards. As I said, he rushed for 26 yards, and he was sacked twice with no turnovers. So, you know what? We're going to talk about him in a little bit. Swift and Kyle Mangaye. I cannot say his name. Mangaye. Dan, I know you're laughing out there. Anyways, Swift again, 21 carries, 90 yards. And I got to say, because I've not been a Swift fan, but in the last 4 or 5 games, obviously I've gotten on board. And I told you I would give him his props as he did it, and and some of those yards that him and Kyle Amungai got, Kyle had 12 carries for 25 yards and a touchdown. But those 140 yards that these two guys got were huge, because some of them came at times we really needed. We were on third down. There was a one series where we had gotten a penalty, and it knocked us back. And then we had and then Cabe overthrew a wide open receiver several times. And then these running backs got us our first down several times. They're really important times. That doesn't necessarily show in the stats, but they did it. I still would like to see Kyle Amungai number, what number is he? Shoot. I can't think of it. 25. I would like to see him get more carries. I really would. Although there was one play that I was really mad at Ben for, because Swift is more of your finesse and go out and run up the sides, catching balls, stuff like that. Kyle, to me, is more of Amungai is more of up a middle, up a little bit to the sides, and knock guys over and take them with them. Ben called, we were at third down, and I think we only needed 2 or 3, and he handed it off, but they had Kyle running out to the right, and that's not his game. He is more of a get going. The outside is more Swift because of the speed, and that play was, we lost yards on that play, and I thought it was a terrible call from Ben. And there again, Ben, he's learning too. He doesn't. This isn't the team you had last year on offense, Ben. It's not Detroit. It's the Chicago Bears, and we're still not ready. Our quarterback has still got some issues, but again, I'm going to talk about that again. They were in his face all day. But anyway, so let's just finish the stats. Sorry, but I'm happy, so I'm psyched. I'm hyped. I really liked one thing, very, very happy yesterday, that they got our tight ends. We have 2 really good tight ends, and actually a third one, number 81, I can't think of his last name, he caught a pass yesterday. He dropped one and caught one. And I think that they put him out there, for a little trickery. Plus, he blocks a lot. So you reward the guys that are doing that. Let them go out and have some fun and catch a pass. But I really like that Cole Kmet led all receiving. I'm not happy with the low yards, but Kmet had 45 yards. His longest was a 14-yard pass. Rome, number 15, our wide receiver, was second with 41 yards. His longest was 24 yards. Loveland, our rookie, had 40 yards. His longest was 24. And our rookie wide receiver, number 10, Biden, had 27 yards receiving with 16 as his longest. But I really liked that they got Kmet and Loveland more involved. And a few times yesterday, I felt instead of trying on these third downs or second downs when it's short, do a short pass to them, because Minnesota was not giving up the big plays. That was quite obvious. You can tell by the lack of Rome having bigger yards, Biden, Moore, who I'm going to talk about in a little bit. I'm not happy with him. But Moore had 18 yards, and Kyle Amungai had 14 yards. But receiving. So a lot of people touched it. What was that? 5, 6 guys touching the ball. I like that. Let's see. Yeah, 6 guys. So I like it. But Minnesota was not giving up the big passes down the field. They just weren't. That was quite evident. And plus, they just didn't give Williams the time to be able to do it. But I got to tell you more. I personally do not think he's going to be on the team next year. I think that's becoming obvious. He gets used less and less, and he's in short passes. But he dropped a easy pass that was at least 20 to 25 yards and a first down. I mean, I could have frickin' caught that ball. My 3.5-year-old grandson could have caught that ball. My sister, who is such a girly girl, could have caught that ball. I was so pissed, and, I'm not digging it. So, I've been thinking all year, I don't think there's room for more anymore, and if he keeps playing like this, I'm sorry, he's going to be gone. I like him, do not get me wrong, but when you get a pass like that thrown to you when it was so important, and I don't know if it was second or third down, but it was a first down for sure, and we needed it, and just terrible more. So, DJ, you got some work to do, okay? Defense. I'm just going to call out a few guys. Number 44, our middle linebackers, Swell, had 14 tackles. He led the team. And number 45, Edmonds, is always up there. I swear to God. He had 13 tackles. I think Edmonds right now leads the team. 2 interceptions. Number 31, Abide, had an interception. And number 26, Wright, had another interception. Now, we would have had a third interception if Stevenson and Brisker hadn't run into each other, because Stevenson, I think, caught the ball, and then Brisker hit him friendly fire, and it was dropped. But that's okay. It stopped their play, so who cares? But another good turnover. We are leading the league in turnovers, and you can see how important it is to have those turnovers, because again, we don't have those turnovers. Well, we scored on the 2 turnovers. I want to say we only scored 3 points though, but because I know we did not on the one turnover, we didn't do anything, and the second turnover we did go down and score a field goal, but we only scored 3. But it was the winning 3, if you think about it, right? Because we won by 3 points. So Santos, as I said, had a great day. He had 4 field goals. He had 1 miss, but he won the game. So those 2 guys had a great game for special teams. I'm going to talk about special teams. I don't think they had a good game. We'll talk about that in a minute. So another close game. Those are the stats. So let's talk. I want to give a shout out to the O-line, because they had another, in my opinion, good game. They had another team. I told you that going into this game, Minnesota's defense blitzes the most in the league. Average game, they blitz 44% of the time in a game out of 60 minutes, and that's a lot. And they were in his face all day, which, as I say, for our defense, they need to do, because it showed. Williams, that's why he's having problems. Some of the reasons he's having problems missing these wide receivers, because he doesn't have time to set his feet to get those falls. It's easier to, he's pretty good at throwing on the run, but you really need to set your feet to get some of those bombs you want. And they were just at him all the time. So I give the offensive line a lot of credit. He was sacked twice, yes, but he could have been sacked. And, of course, that was on him, too. He could have been sacked at least 6 times in that game. And the O-line, I think they had 1 penalty, which is a big improvement, okay? So I got to give them a lot of credit, because they don't get a lot of props. But you know what? What a difference years make in not having an O-line the last 3-4 years, no O-line. See the difference, how important? And they also help open up those holes for the running game. And linemen love the run game, because it's just easier for them, and they love it. And they gave Swift and Kyle good openings and helped him out. Because if we hadn't gotten that run game going at 140 yards, it would have been a lot longer of a day for Williams and the Bears, and it wouldn't have been a good outcome. So O-line, lot of props to you. I know you don't get a lot, because people are like, well, but I think they were good. So we talked about Williams, overthrowing, underthrowing. It is still a problem. But the kid under pressure is solid. So that's not a problem. He's not throwing interceptions. That's another good thing. He's not fumbling the ball. They did have one fumble exchange, but they got it back. He's not, and he's getting out of sacks. But we've got to get it where the O-line, the only thing is they got to keep them a little farther away from him because he does get antsy feet when they get close. Like I said last week on Friday's show, Ben said, this is where Williams is still learning whether to stay in the pocket, that extra tick to try to settle and throw the ball, or to take off. And that is just going to come with more and more experience, more and more playing time. He's going to start to understand those guys. The Tom Bradys, the Peyton Mannings, the Josh Allens, the Mahomes, they all had to learn that. When you take off and when you just stand in there and try to get that pass off. So that just comes with more reps. And I think he will get it. So, you know what? Yes, but at the end of the day, we won. But these kind of things where we got to give Williams a little more time are going to become important in the next 7 games because we're playing good teams. So, although Pittsburgh, which I'm going to talk about on Friday, we play them next, on paper, Bears should beat them, but we'll see. We'll talk about that Friday, okay? And I did say how much I love the tight ends in the play. I just love using them. I think Ben's underusing them, but they used them a lot yesterday, and I'd like to see him use them more and more and more, okay? Now, here is one of the problems from yesterday, and I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but we've got to face the facts. We are not scoring enough when we get close to the red zone or we're in the red zone. In my opinion, we left 17 points on that field yesterday. There was 2 opportunities that we were in the red zone and very close, and we came away with field goal and a missed field goal. And that I felt was 17. And then another time we had a chance. We were there and we didn't get anything. So I felt we left 17 points. The 3 missed from the missed field goal and 2 where we were down there, we should have scored touchdowns. And moving forward, we can't leave points on the field. We just cannot, okay? And so now we're down to the last 7 games. I said 8 last week. I said I'd be happy if we were 4-4. So we'll see. But you see my point is when you're leaving points on the field, it's like John Madden says. I think of him a lot because he had so many great. I was lucky enough to see him in my ear call games, and he was the best. I'm sorry, the best announcer ever. And he always said, when you let teams hang around like the Bears did, Minnesota was always within reach. And when you let teams hang around, 9 out of 10 times they're going to end up beating you. So you can't let them, and I kept saying that. The Bears, again, they have got to score early, which they did, but they got to keep putting points on the board, make it farther reach, not so close, not 19-17, you know what I mean? So you just, like he says, don't let these teams hang around because they're going to start catching up to you. These close wins are not going to happen if you continue to let teams stay around and get you. Now the defense, because I was talking about so I did talk about the turnovers. I did write this down. On the defense, we only got on those 2 interceptions, we only got 3 points. We got, from the first interception, we got a field goal. The second interception, nothing. We had a penalty, and when we were driving on the second interception, because we had pretty good yards. He had gotten us pretty good yards, 26, right? And we got a penalty, and then Williams had overthrows, and that was it. We scored nothing. So when you get 2 turnovers, again, been preaching this all year, you got to turn them into points. It should have been at least 6. It should have been 14. That's what I'm saying by leaving points on the field. And so The offense, that's pretty much what it is. We're still struggling in areas, but we've got a quarterback. We just got to pull these things together. And that's why I say we're not playoff ready. We're just not. Now, doesn't mean that they're not going to get better and better each week. In December, we'll see. Hey, I love the Bears more than anything. Even my sister says to me, because I wear a lot of Bears shirts now because I'm retired. I worked in offices for a long time, and you had to dress up. Towards the end, it was a little more casual, but you still always had to have a nice shirt and khakis on or something. Now, I rarely put pants on unless I have to. I dress up for a wedding, but that's it. I am in Bears shirts and shorts, Bears sweatshirts and shorts. And my point is I love my Bears, okay? But I don't think they're playoff ready because they just J.J. McCarthy had a terrible game. And so I'm going to get into that. So, yeah, I'm all over the place here today. So that's why people are like, oh, they're ready. Believe me, I want them to be ready, and I want them to go to the Super Bowl, but they're not going to the Super Bowl. They're not ready for that, okay? So, but we'll continue. So, but the defense, and this is what I say Friday, and I always say before the games, if you can't sack their quarterback, get in his face, hit him. We hit him quite a bit yesterday. We made him very, very uncomfortable, J.J. McCarthy. You could see it. He threw 2 interceptions. He had a lot of bad throws, a lot of missed throws, a lot. There were times those guys were open. Our backfield didn't have their better games again, but because our defensive line, in my opinion, was in his face all the day. It made him so uncomfortable. He kept missing these guys because there was 4 times that I can remember off the top of my head right now, and it might have been 6, that he had receivers open and he just didn't make it because, well, a couple reasons. One, he's been in the league 2 years. He did not play last year at all because he got hurt in camp. So, or was it the first game? It doesn't matter. I think he's only played 5 games. So he's young too, and he's got a lot to learn. And I don't know about it. I watched him play at Michigan. They just had a really good defense and a really good running attack. So I don't know how good he really is, but our defense did what they had to do by making him very uncomfortable. And I say this, if the D-line can step up and get sacks and knock these guys out of their rhythm, stop the run game, it only helps the backfield. If them and the linebackers, because our backfield is just beat to shit. We know that. And although JJ is now off of injured reserve and he's on the 21-day list of practice, so he might even show up next week. It depends how game shape he's in, but boy, wouldn't it be great if we could have Hip Johnson back in, Jalen Johnson, because he is so good, and between him and Gordon being out, it shows. So the more the D-line and the linebackers step up, it helps them, because last year, a lot of those games we lost were close, and we were in them because of our backfield last year. That's not the case now, so that's why our D-line's got to get better and better and better. Again, no sacks, but they made him very uncomfortable, and that's exactly what they need to do. Now, special teams, I'll tell you what. Santos, yes, winning field goal, right on, you rock. But in the third quarter, the special teams gave up a huge run back on a punt. Or was it a kickoff? It doesn't matter. It ended up, I think it was a punt, and they gave up so many yards. The Minnesota Vikings were on their 25-yard line. Next play, easy walk-ins touchdown. Now Minnesota's close. It was 16-17, I think, something like that. But the point is, they've been giving up too many big gashes, our special teams, on the punt returns and the kickoffs. And more on the punt returns than the kickoffs, I've noticed, and that has got to stop. But then again, Santos and number 12 picked that special teams up by him having the 56-yard run back on the last play that let the Bears offense go down there and score the winning field goal, and then Santos win it. But I'm concerned about our special teams tackling and getting down the field. They don't seem to be very fast at that, and so that is kind of a bugaboo for us. But you know, it is important because if you want to win playoff games, you've got to do it on all three phases: offense, defense, special teams. So we got to work on this because we've seen it week in and week out. They're starting to give up too many yards. But again, two players picked them up, right? I saw this little tidbit about Bears. It said, this is the first time since 1985 that three defensive players, as of going into 10 games into the season, this is the first... Three defensive players that have had 4 interceptions in the first 10 games into the season. This has not happened since 1985, and those players are, not surprising, number 31, Abide. He has 5. 26 Wright has 4. 49 Edmonds has 4. We have 15 interceptions. We're leading the league. So, you know what? That is just awesome. It's wonderful to see that these guys are getting turnovers, because the last few years that has been a problem for our defense. And I know that Dennis Allen is challenging these defensive players to go get those balls, and they're doing it, man. They're watching. A lot of them are Bide, number 31 particularly. He watches the quarterback with his eyes, and he sees where he's going to go, and then he jumps in front. I mean, and if we could get JJ back, he can get interceptions. He's really good at it. He's a ball hog. So just think about that. So let's hope we get him back. It would be really, really helpful to get Edwards back. He broke his hand, but he can play with a broken hand. It's his back that's keeping him out. But if we could get Edwards back in there again with Edmonds and Edwards as well, that'll help the middle linebackers a lot. And again, moving forward, we need it. Let's see if I can remember the score. I got it mixed up last week when I told it, but for 67 years old, pretty good to remember. So we have Pittsburgh, Philadelphia on a short week, Cleveland. No. Philadelphia. Yes, Cleveland, Green Bay, 49ers, Green Bay, and Detroit. That's the next 7 games, okay? And did you watch the Philadelphia game last night? Yeah, Philadelphia shut down Detroit. They did what I say our defense needs to do. They got in Goff's face all day. He was so uncomfortable. He looked so bad, and they lost that game. Thank you, Philadelphia. But that defense is hot. So when we play them in 2 weeks, it's going to be tough. But there's one thing I wanted to mention, too. 2 penalties that those frickin' refs missed again. One, they missed this one, and the second one they should have called when, who was it? Was it Kyle Amungai? It might have been. He was running, and he got a first down, but it was a clear face mask. I mean, the guy pulled him and pulled his head. It was so obvious. And then the second one was later in the game where they hit Williams, and they kind of hit him here and knocked him back. That could have been easy a penalty on him, and it should have been, because I'll tell you what, I've seen our guys get penalties for less hits on that. So it's bullshit. Refs still suck. The Bears are not, it's gotten a little better, because in the beginning of the season, it was bad. But I just wanted to point those 2 out, because refs, I'm watching you, okay? Bad karma. Bad karma for the guy that missed the face mask, for sure, because that would have given us 15 more yards, and that would have put us right down by the goal line, because we were close. So, all right. But anyways, it was a great game. I will talk Friday about the Pittsburgh game and moving forward. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, because this is awesome, and we are going to enjoy it. I mean, we thought this was going to happen 1 or 2 years ago, especially last year. We all drank the Kool-Aid 2 years ago, and then we drank it last year. And I said I won't drink no more Kool-Aid. And guess what? I did not drink the Kool-Aid this year. And look we're 7-3. So thanks for watching. Really, I appreciate it. I'm, I said earlier I was thinking about stopping the show. I'm so glad I didn't because it is a lot easier. Because last year I must have said the word fuck 1,000 times on the show because they were so bad. But we're headed in the right direction. It's just wow. I mean, wow. But anyways, we'll talk about that Friday. Wonderful game. Thank you so much for watching. Tell everybody about me. Make sure you tell people to turn me on. I am 67 and free. Anyways, and I just want to end the show. First, thank you again for watching. End the show. Be kind. I always do this. Be kind, please. Think before you speak. Be kind. Help people out. Let's stick together. Times are just so tough right now, and everybody's worried and this and that. So let's just smile at people when you're out and about. You never know what that could do, and it doesn't give you wrinkles. I'm just telling you. I mean, I can be a grouch and a bitch. Do not get me wrong. I may be small, but I'm mighty. And but I try mostly to be happy. Because it's just easier, health-wise and everything else-wise. So, and Bears fans, we love the Bears, and we love each other, right? Rock on, baby. Let's enjoy this victory Monday. Okay, thanks again. See you later, Fonzie. And on that note, see you Friday for the pre-show for Pittsburgh. Don't miss it, because I'm going to be telling you some stuff you're going to want to know. And on that note, keep on rocking and rolling from Vegas, baby.